Hi, this is April 19th, and it's Mark Simon on camera, Jennifer Palmer Lacey, and Cheryl Revkin on the interview. And we're at the Micheltorena garden where we're filming Leonardo right now, Leonardo Chalupowicz, who's taking the compost over to the chickens because they pick through it and get food. Hi, I already said this is April 18th and we're in the garden at Micheltorena School, and this is Leonardo, again, who is just feeding the chickens. Could you just say your name and when you were born for us?
I am Leonardo Chalupowicz. I was born March 2nd, 55.
And where do you live, Leonardo?
I live here in Silver Lake.
And Charles?
I am Charles Herman-Wurmfeld, and I was born on July the 5th, 1966.
66, okay. And you live pretty close to the school, right?
I live just across the street, yeah, and like up the way and across the street from the school.
And could you give us, Leonardo, a little bit about your background? I know you have a beautiful garden. And...
Well, I'm originally from Buenos Aires, from Argentina, but I've been in LA, for 30 years, 20 of them here in Silver Lake.
And what do you do?
I live at the top of the hill, here on the same street, Micheltorena, and I'm an architect. I'm also a landscape designer. And for a couple of years, I was an elected member of the neighborhood council, which kind of prompted this whole endeavor.
I see. And Charles?
What's the question again?
What's your background? What do you do?
Well, I've lived in California for 25 years. I moved first to San Francisco in 1989, and then to LA in 1998. And I've lived here in the neighborhood since 2003. And I'm a filmmaker by trade, film director. And
what films have you done?
Kissing Jessica Stein, Legally Blonde 2. I was actually making that movie when I moved to Silver Lake in 2003.
And why did you choose to move to Silver Lake?
We knew that we wanted to live somewhere where we could walk to restaurants, walk to markets, and so.
And who's we?
My partner Jason and I.
Okay, great. And Leonardo, why did you move to Silver Lake?
I used to live in Venice, and then I decided to move east, and it seemed like Silver Lake was as sort of like comprehensive and inclusive and open as Venice. And I was right, but 20 years ago there weren't too many cafes or places to walk to, and well, the rest is history, I guess, because it evolved tremendously.
I would also say that we were enchanted by the long gay history and long progressive history of the neighborhood, and that combination also drew us here.
And you're a we also, right?
Yeah, my partner is Mike St. Onge, and he's the president of the Friends of the Silver Lake Library, which you are a member of as well.
Right.
And that's Cheryl conducting the interview.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you. So how did you meet each other?
We were at a Transportation and Public Works meeting, investigating as candidates for the neighborhood council what was this thing called the neighborhood council. And since we're both very interested in transportation, we found ourselves there. And I remember when Leonardo started talking about his ideas and thoughts and points of reference, that I just kind of sat up and thought, oh, this is someone I really think I could work with on things. And actually to this day, Leonardo's phone number is in my cell phone as SL, which is what I sort of put my contacts according to Circle, sort of like Google does it. So he's SL1.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You didn't know that? SL1 Leonardo.
That's what happens with these interviews.
At the transportation meeting, and from there we've been kind of kicking up dust ever since, really, making things happen around town.
It turned out after that we were both elected.
Yes.
we were both new members 2.5 or 3 years ago. and it was new. We were excited. We were full of ideas and energy, and in a way, this garden is the result of that, because at the beginning we were involved in a lot of things, and then all of a sudden we found the focus, which was try to green the school, and we fought for the corner location so it would be also a community situation rather than being just a school garden. And I think it's been super successful.
Yeah, I mean, with the help of like some amazing people along the way, like Principal Susanna Ferfari, who I don't know if you've spoken to yet, but in this time I feel she's been so transformative for this school. And when we went there, together, sort of nervously wondering where we might put a garden on the campus, and thinking this would be the ideal location right here on the corner of Micheltorena and Sunset, like a community and teaching garden location. And she sort of, in her very quick way, was sort of like, and I think it should be on the corner. And we nearly fell out of our chairs because there was a 15-car parking lot here. And everyone knows that parking's at a premium in Silver Lake, so it's very hard to unseat parking spaces. But we were just saying the other night at Potluck, isn't it glorious that there are not 19 parking spaces here anymore, because we have this beautiful community, thriving, teaching space now on our hands.
Right. So this is an inner city school, and do you know anything about the demographics of the school? It's primarily Latin American.
We were quite aware of the demographics, I think, coming in, and also the health graphics. We used to say, my partner Jason and I, because we lived on the street, as I said, for maybe 7 or 8 years before we really started our community involvement projects, and we would just notice those kids are so round. What's going on in there? What are they eating? What kind of exercise are they getting? What do they know about food? Who's teaching? And it was just kind of an ongoing question. And wonder, how can we be of service? What could we do? And then when I joined the council, it was one of my goals, and we shared this, I feel like early on we knew that we wanted to spend as much time actually doing things in the community as we did, say, in meetings about what to do in the community. So I knew that I wanted to volunteer and start that process. And so when Susanna Ferfari was so accessible, it just, because Leonardo lives up the street and I live across the street, it became very easy for us to be here in a very regular way. And we did.
I just want to mention that several years ago now, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, we did an event very close to the school around plastic bags, and Susanna was very, very accessible at that point and got all the kids to learn about the issue of banning plastic bags. And we made a giant plastic ball and brought the ball to this campus, and the kids helped to roll the ball. And she was great. She was fantastic. So it's good to know that a very conscientious and conscious, politically conscious principal can make a big difference in a school.
There was a facilities manager named Cheryl who was, allowed us to expand his thinking on the subject of putting in a garden somewhere like a parking lot. There was a very active PTA.
So the parents of the school have been involved too.
Friends of Micheltorena. There were many community members, including Susan Hutchinson, who was a master gardener at the time and our partner in the beginning of this.
Good. Leonardo, could you talk a little bit about how you raised the money to create the garden? Do you know much about that? Or?
Well, we brought through the what was, I think, the Parks and something committee at the school, at the council, which is run by Janet Cunningham, which is a fixture in Silver Lake in the landscape circles. She hosted the motion, and we said, well, how much money can we get for the garden? and then the number 10,000 was thrown around. We said, well, let's go for it.
Let me just clarify. The neighborhood council, which is funded by the city, said that possibly they could give $10,000
Well, the
to the
committee,
creation.
the committee of the neighborhood council, which the council is run in a series of committees, basically that feed the council.
Right.
Sorry, there's a Coca-Cola truck rolling by. The council is a series of committees which feed the governing board opportunities to vote on funding requests around the neighborhood. So Janet hosted a meeting. I think Paul Newman, a council member, and Renee Nahum were there. I distinctly recall the moment when Renee said, I think it should be $10,000. And we almost fell out of our chairs because we were looking for $10,000 because we had done a competition earlier through a fruit like granola company or something. We had the whole neighborhood voting for our proposal to win, and then we didn't win, but many people voted for it to the point where once we started building the garden, I started hearing from a lot of people around the neighborhood, I voted for that. And we knew they hadn't been to council, remember, but they had all voted for them.
Right, so the council did approve that, which
Yes.
was a special year because was the last year where they were allowed to roll over the funds from the year before. So
Yes.
the council had more money than
Ever.
it had in the last 3 or 4. So it was a good opportunity to put a chunk into a project where now nobody can get 10,000 all at once.
Well, you could, but it would be hard.
On top of that, we did a matching funds, so we raised other 10,000 through online and people donating and that sort of thing. So all of a sudden we had 20,000, which was a really good seed money, which allowed us to remove the asphalt, and I think that was almost 4,000. And then
Didn't you have to test the soil under the asphalt?
The test had to be the soil had to be tested, but LAUSD paid for that. That was LAUSD's biggest contribution. Besides going along with us, there were 2 amazing green sustainable yards ombudswomen at the time, which are not working for the LAUSD anymore. Teresa Dahl and Tracy Bartley. They were huge champions and really led us by the hand to deal with all the bureaucracy of LAUSD, of which we didn't have any idea. They really were like amazing intermediaries between the bureaucracy and regular people.
Yeah, they made it happen.
Really? So you had good people on the staff at the school, a good principal, a good neighborhood council at the right moment, and people who were affiliated with LAUSD, who knew the ropes, who helped us go through.
Very supportive. So
And
it was like a perfect
community.
storm of all the elements coming together and
Community
making
of
it
people
happen.
who donated.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of volunteers that showed up.
Hundreds.
Because it had to be spade and turned. The beds had to be built. The plants planted. The compost. I mean, it's not. Please, I'm so sorry that we're here having the interview.
I know.
Because this is an absolute community effort.
I want to say that as well. I feel a little disingenuous. I mean, we are like figureheads maybe in that we were there, asking at the moment and planning at a certain moment, but hundreds and hundreds of people have built this garden, and hundreds of people use this garden, and it's like in the hearts of so many now that we're like just participants, who have stepped forward to do this interview. But you could have interviewed dozens who would tell you stories.
Why do you think so many people did get involved? Why don't you go first and then?
Well, I think there's a little bit of a thirst for green spaces to meet your neighbors, to plan activities, to dream, to plot, and the garden is very visible. Most people walk by a few times or drive by a few times, and then finally get the oomph to come in and try to figure out what's going on. And it's people tend to gravitate towards each other and then spark with ideas and with plans and with events and with music and with thoughts. And my big aha moment is that I thought we started this to grow food.
Yeah.
And it turns out we grow community, and then there's also food. And that kind of, I think, kind of like encapsulates the whole idea.
And Charles, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much. It's such a big question. Why? But I think that we are in the cusp of a giant economic change, and that everyone sort of intuitively understands that a heartfelt community is going to be at the core of weathering that transition, that change. And so, as Leonardo said, I think people are thirsty for. People are really thirsty for this. I also think that particularly the way that early on we decided to structure the space, which was as a consensus-based cooperative. I mean, nobody runs this garden. You know, people may point to one of us and say, go ask that guy. But then we go, what does everyone want? And then everyone talks. And then we all decide together and consensus really on what we're going to do. And, you know, that group has been growing and growing.
And that's how we ended up with chickens, because somebody spearheaded that. Frances, you met her. We ended up with a composter that Dale Benson, another member from the neighborhood council, built for us. Solar panels done by two community members, Aaron and Troy.
The Time Bank.
To the Time Bank, which has been a participant. Mulch is being delivered. Plants are being brought.
Are most of the plants and seeds donated?
Most of our seeds are donated, and our plants have all been donated. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a connection with a nursery in Colorado, which has been sending us their seed packages instead of returning them to the unsold seeds, instead of returning them to the manufacturer for saying something. Every year we receive a huge box.
And how did they know about you? Or how did you know about them?
Well, they did because a friend of mine from Facebook is the sister of this woman, and that's how. So it's beyond it's beyond the neighborhood physically. It's through other channels.
So people want to support something green, want to support something that's community oriented, something that's inner city. Can you tell me a little bit about how the kids interact with the garden who are students here?
So on Wednesdays we host a open garden day, and the garden, because it faces the schoolyard, and there are two entrances that come in from the schoolyard to the garden, which is just fortuitous really, but it's a perfect structure for hosting kids, because they can come not only with their classrooms, which they do on a rotating basis once a month, and we teach about all basically the circle of life through all the systems, from the circle of respect between human beings to the circle of seed growth to flower to plant to seed again. And we harvest
to eating it, digesting it,
to digesting the circle with nature of just how to, you know, our compost. But and they also come during recess, and they have free playtime in the garden, which we can basically sustain about once a week, because it's literally dozens, if not hundreds of kids over the course of a recess flying through here, picking flowers, uprooting radishes, like obsessing about bugs and worms and creatures, and it's really become a very, very dynamic situation. Like hands full of volunteers also coming from the community to help. So kids regularly have some very direct attention with gardeners and some very direct communion with plants in that time.
So a science class, for instance, doesn't come and study the cycle of a plant or a vegetable or whatever.
Absolutely.
But, they do.
Yeah, absolutely. Good. The classes are coming specifically to study specific growth natural dynamics, and then, as I said, the kids are coming in more free-form time as well.
And how is the compost made? How do you create the compost here?
Well, the compost is a combination of what we have here, but also the main connection for the compost is that 2 blocks away we have the local farmers market on Saturdays, and at the end of the farmers market's day they give us, or we go and collect actually, the wheelbarrows leave here around 1:30 in the afternoon and come back full of greens and fruits and vegetables and all kinds of things that the market would otherwise throw away, and that gets incorporated into the compost and fed to the chickens.
Yeah.
So there's that connection also to the neighborhood.
Right, right.
Actually, in a couple of weeks, we're having a compost parade that is going to leave the school and go to the market, and it's going to include music and dance, but it's also going to include a bringing of the final compost to the farmers as a gift or as a retribution for the raw materials they've been feeding us through the year. Last year, actually, we hosted a dinner for them.
It started as a dinner last year. And
this year is the parade.
It's the parade.
Yeah, we plan to film the compost
it's
parade.
going to be fun.
Yeah, great.
It's going to be fun. We'll all be dressed as decomposers, I hope.
Okay. And can you just tell me about the food that comes out of the garden? Who gets the food and what happens to it?
Well, one thing, yes. So in answer to that, one of the things that we do is share the whole space. So it's one of the unique parts about this garden is that people come in and they say, based on the conventional community garden model, and they say, how do I get a plot here? And we say, the whole garden is yours. So come help. So that's the first thing, is that everything is shared space. So all of the food that we grow is shared. People come in hungry sometimes and they say, I'm hungry, can I have some food? And then we give them food.
Yeah.
Or when we have our potlucks on Thursday nights, we always make a big green salad or, a sort of a melange of everything.
And with the kids
going.
on Wednesdays.
And then we eat with the kids on Wednesdays.
And on Saturdays.
So between Saturdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, we're essentially processing most of the food. And then when we really have an overflow, we give it away. Just like we'll walk out into the street or send everyone with bunches to give to their neighbors.
Also, we have a great cooking facility.
Yeah, you mentioned the kitchen.
We have a kitchen. We have a sink. We have a burner. We have a Vitamix, which it's fed with the solar power, so we can make drinks. We can do omelets with our eggs from our chickens. And coming soon, which was just approved both by LAUSD and by the fire department, we're going to have a cob oven-like thing where we'll be able to make pizza and bread and enhance our ability to prepare.
Right. Yeah, please let us know about that because we want to include that.
Well, if we take a walk around right now, we can show you the cob bricks that we've been building with everyone.
All right.
Yeah.
So why don't we stop right now and then we're just going to walk around the garden for a few minutes? Okay?
Thank you, Cheryl.
Yeah, this is great. Wonderful.
Francis and Linda and a army of neighbors that Francis coordinates through Google.
And Leonardo, where did they come from?
I think it's a group of USC researchers. They live in some sort of like a homestead situation, and they raise chickens and have a garden. But they also have a rooster, that means they make chickens. And then they brought us these chickens. I also want to point out that the coop, which is very deluxe, has a green roof.
Yes.
And that's a nice sort of like neighborhood demonstration thing where people can realize they can have their own green roof. And the whole thing was built with recycled wood by one of our volunteers, Johnny De La Mora. And another instance of somebody taking it upon themselves to complete the project.
Yeah,
For instance, when
Johnny
the school
did an incredible
is closed
job.
for the summer, there's still this group of people that comes and feeds the chickens.
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
And the
Well,
message goes
we-
out maybe on the Facebook page.
Dozens of us have keys to this garden, and because it's a shared space with the school, we have access to the garden every day, whether the school is open or not.
It's separated by the gate, so we can be here without having issues with the school.
It's called a shared use agreement.
With LAUSD?
So these are we can just model some of the stuff. These are the garden tables.
No, I want to say that was also possible because the Friends of Micheltorena gave us through their 501c3 provide the insurance which otherwise we could have not had. So the garden could sign that agreement with LAUSD.
Yeah.
So people come here to have the potluck dinner on
Yes.
Thursday night.
Yeah, this is where potlucks are.
Do the kids make these
This
flags?
is these are flags made from bed sheets by kids and moms and parents. You can see many of them have been illustrated. And these are drawings of California native plants.
And these are tangerines that are volunteer brought.
Yes, tangerines that volunteer picked from a tree and brought, so they're not just like chopped a tree.
Oh yeah, from her own tree. That's
Yeah.
Amy. Amy, which is a new council member and amazing volunteer. It's always nice to have new, fresh, energetic blood that brings a lot of enthusiasm.
This is our sink.
And wait, you have rain barrels.
Oh, so one of the things we do here is teach permaculture. So every year when the rains come, the garden floods because the playground drains into the sewer, and the sewer collects in this corner right here. So we
The storm drain.
storm drains. So we took the liberty of punching these holes. Don't tell anyone. Shh. And lining up these barrels through the time bank. Aaron Murphy built this entire thing. Did a great job. And now we're demonstrating for the kids that you can collect rainwater, which is something that's very important for our survival in the future.
Great. Okay, then over here we have the kitchen that another volunteer built, right?
The
Yeah.
kitchen was Joel Stauffer,
Joel
which
Stauffer.
is a local carpenter and actor, and he donated the time to build the sink. And somebody, her name is Denny, donated the sink itself.
And the guy who's my plumber at our place, Virgil, came in and hooked it all up
Right.
for free.
Is this a ice cream maker?
That is an ice cream maker. We haven't done it yet, but
Okay.
we're going to.
And what's this used for?
We're going to make this into a solar fountain. Seems to be the plan of it right now.
Solar fountain to be.
A water feature that is going to be powered by solar. The kids in one of the classes won second prize on a city solar competition, and they won $750. They're going to use them to buy a solar pump and turn this into a water feature.
Then I noticed the tires here. Do you use that for growing potatoes?
The tires were used to grow potatoes. This is part of a hydroponic system that was donated, where you can grow the plants. It's out of use right now, but you could grow the plants in each one of these little containers. Another demonstration.
And then this is your shed that has solar panels on the top.
Yes, and because the garden is not connected to the grid, to the electrical grid.
To the grid.
All our power comes from these solar panels, which actually were bought with a $2,000 grant from Eric Garcetti.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right. Uh-huh.
Through Marta Segura, his deputy.
Deputy.
Yes.
Field deputy.
Yes.
Right. Okay. And didn't the kids do some kind of a hip hop dance on Earth Day or something and win a competition?
Yeah,
That's what it
they
is.
won
The solar.
$750 demoing their solar power, asking for solar power at the school, and demoing this shed, and what Eric Garcetti bought us, which is a power hub, a battery, and a couple of solar panels that sit on top. And they made green smoothies with the solar power, and then drank their green smoothies.
So this is all recycled materials. And then we also installed the gutter, and the gutter collects water into these rain barrels that were given by the city of LA through the Hollywood beautification team. And that's, again, it's not a big quantity, but it's another way of demonstrating how people can collect rainwater.
It's not a ton of water, but this is actually great water for growing seedlings because it's not chlorinated.
Right.
Then these are bamboo sticks, I guess you use to make trellises.
Dale Benson brings these over,
Yeah, like that's
from his garden.
that's a little tent where we can grow beans.
Here's another compost. These are compost bins.
Compost bin is a 3-stage process. It goes 1, 2, 3. And then from here, it's pretty labor-intensive process that we do, where we chop everything up first and layer it very, very delicately, so it heats up quickly, breaks down quickly, and within a month we have food that was recycled from farmers market being sprinkled across the garden in the form of earth, green earth.
And then let's just finally just take a walk here.
Yeah, let's just see who's here for a second. Let's see who's here for a second. Like cauliflower. Big favorite is strawberries. The kids come down, and every Wednesday they search for strawberries.
Kale.
Kale is here. Who else is here?
These are some sort of like onions.
Onions.
And of course we always mix with flowers because that attracts pollinators and beneficial insects, which contribute to maintain the health of the garden.
Right.
And the compost has to do with growing soil.
Here we have sorrel, which is a favorite of all the kids. Yes. We're not open today. We're doing a little interview for the Silver Lake History Collective on the history of the garden. So you can wave and say hi.
to the camera. Tell us your names. What are your names?
My name's Luz. My name is Giovanni. My name is Janetsi.
And do you guys like the garden?
Yes.
How do you feel about sorrel, the lemon plant?
Good.
Come on down. Let's move. We have sunflowers here. Everybody loves the sunflowers.
Okay, Mark, maybe come around here.
Sorrel.
Okay.
Not today, next Wednesday, or come on Saturday. Here we have broccoli, delicious. A red sorrel, which the kids also like. Tomatoes are growing. Hopefully we'll have more luck with this year. Over here, something I had never seen before we started the garden. This is an artichoke, believe it or not. And up comes the artichoke flower from right in the center.
Right, and then you have some artichokes over here.
We have some more mature going over here.
Broccoli.
Don't forget to get that bus coming in the background. Just to see where we are.
Sure.
Come on over here. These are arugula flowers. Very good. The amazing California poppy in the house. Over here we have, Leonardo, remind me the name. Leonardo, remind me the name of our friend here. This amazing Lovich. Amazing herb that I didn't know about until we started this garden. The perimeter entirely fruit trees. Citrus. And that way too, citrus.
Oh, we're also growing, very important, we're growing corn, and you can see it right there just coming up from seeds that Charlie brought from Peru. So this is an experiment in intercontinental cross-pollination that we're very excited about.
Okay, let's just come back and one more second here. Okay, maybe you guys could just stand over there. Tell us your YouTube. You said some things are on YouTube?
Where to find some things. So if you go to the Micheltorena Elementary Garden Facebook page and you scroll back in the history on Facebook, you'll see early videos of us and neighbors preparing the garden and building the garden. And there's photographs there too.
And the Facebook page is the Micheltorena Elementary School Garden.
Community, school and community garden, but also micheltorena.org. It's the school website, and there's a garden page there where there's also information.
And the Friends of Micheltorena.org?
No, Micheltorena.org, the name of the school.
I know, but there's also the Friends too, right?
Maybe, I'm not
But
sure.
they're not connected.
We'll
Okay.
send you all the links.
Okay. So we hope to see you on May 4th.
For the compost parade.
Yeah, we
It's
have
going to be smashing.
another History Collective event, but somebody will be here. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you,
It's
Cheryl,
wonderful.
for all you're doing.
It's
Thanks to
great
the
to
History
document
Collective.
this. I want
You guys
to
are
know,
genius. It's beautiful.
It's going in the Silver Lake Neighborhood Council archive. We're going to have a channel, and where you can view all of the interviews we've done. And it's also going to USC, where they have a community history site, and it'll be there also.
Can I just also say for the camera, please join the Silver Lake Neighborhood Council. It's an incredible organization, and it's made possible by you.
Right. Become a stakeholder.
I'm
Right.
an active participant in your community. It really works, and it's
Yeah.
good for the heart.
Great. Thank
Let's
you
feed the
so
chickens.
much. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Great. I have to have you sign releases. Okay.